father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Welcome to Affinity Recruitment. Hi, I'm Michelle Aubert, founder and managing director for Affinity Recruitment. Affinity specializes in financial services recruitment and corporate innovation services. We can be reached at 943-2020. We're located in the heart of Georgetown at Piccadilly Center.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Welcome to the 18th of 19 candidate forums for the 2025 general elections in the Cayman Islands, proudly hosted by the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce. My name is Omari Corbin, and I'm honored to serve as the current president of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm also pleased to be one of the panelists posing questions to our candidates this evening, along with Chamber immediate past president, Joanne Lawson. Before we begin, I'd like to sincerely thank the three Georgetown West candidates, Mrs. Paulina McGaw-Lumsden, Mr. Hunter Walton, and Mr. Tyree Hernandez, for accepting our invitation to participate in tonight's forum. Mr. Craig Merrin informed us that he was unable to attend due to unforeseen circumstances. By appearing together on this platform, you demonstrate a shared commitment to the democratic process and to the people of Georgetown West. Your presence signals your readiness to address the pressing issues raised by the community through a recent chamber survey, which has helped shape the questions that we'll be asking tonight. While time won't allow us to cover every question submitted, we will do our best to focus on the topics identified as most important to the voters in the Cayman Islands, as well as Georgetown West. When the Chamber was founded in 1965, it was built on the principles of supporting, promoting, and protecting the interests of our members and the wider community. Remaining strictly nonpartisan, we have proudly hosted these candidate forums every election year since 1988. We've provided a neutral platform for 9 elections, allowing voters to hear directly from those seeking public office and helping our community make informed decisions on election day. The questions for tonight's forum have been carefully developed based on past and current chamber surveys, our 3-year advocacy agenda, and submissions from the public in various constituencies. No candidate has received these questions in advance, ensuring a fair and open discussion. As an organization committed to supporting a strong and sustainable Cayman, the Chamber's advocacy efforts focus on 3 key pillars: building a future-ready workforce, sustaining economic success, and advancing quality of life. The newly elected Chamber Council believes that these pillars are fundamental to the continued growth and prosperity of our islands. Looking ahead, the Chamber intends to collaborate with the incoming government to develop a government accountability scorecard, ensuring accountability and transparency. Additionally, we will seek representation on key government boards and authorities, as we believe our members bring valuable expertise that can help shape effective policies and initiatives. These forums require months of coordination, and I'd like to acknowledge the tremendous efforts of Will and our chamber staff who have worked diligently behind the scenes. I'd also like to express our gratitude to Affinity Recruitment, Ashley Furniture and Home Store, Foster's, CUC, and Logic for their generous sponsorship, which has made these forums possible. Additionally, we appreciate our media partners, Cayman Mall Road, Cayman Live TV, Compass TV, and ICCI-FM for broadcasting tonight's event. We are live streaming the forums, making it easier than ever for voters to tune in from the comfort of their homes. We hope this added accessibility encourages even greater participation in the democratic process. The Chamber Council is also pleased to announce that the leaders of the three political parties have confirmed their participation in the Chamber's inaugural debate, featuring the party leaders scheduled for this Wednesday, April 9th. This marks a historic first for the Chamber, providing the community with a unique opportunity to hear directly from each leader about their party's vision and priorities, both on national issues and local concerns. We hope that you will tune in. And now, it's time to begin. I'll turn the proceedings over to Will Panu, CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, who will serve as tonight's moderator. Will outline the forum's rules and introduce our candidates from Georgetown West.
Good evening, candidates. So tonight's forum is designed to give each of you a fair opportunity to present your positions on key issues. The rules for tonight's forum are that each of you will be asked 12 questions. You'll have up to 2 minutes to respond to each question if you do choose to do so. A bell will sound when your time is up, and I'd ask you to please conclude your remarks once you hear it. Candidates will speak without interruption. You may disagree with another candidate's view during your response time. However, all comments must be made respectfully and within the allotted time. And at the end of the forum, each of you will be given 2.5 minutes to deliver a closing statement. And now I'd like to introduce this evening's candidates. We begin with Mrs. Perlina McGaw-Lumsden, is running as the People's Progressive Movement candidate for Georgetown West. She's a dynamic leader, accomplished entrepreneur, and dedicated advocate with the skills and experience to represent Georgetown West with integrity and vision. Her educational journey began at the International College of the Cayman Islands, where she earned an associate's degree before securing a scholarship to Howard University in Washington, D.C., where she completed a degree in accounting. She later earned a master's degree in law from the University of Bristol, further expanding her experience in governance and policy. As the founder of a thriving local business, Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden has contributed to Cayman's economic growth and created real opportunities for Caymanians. Her widely recognized Women's Empowerment Brunch has helped raise awareness and funding for mental health initiatives and other community causes. For her outstanding contributions, she was honored on her Heroes Day with a national award and was a finalist for the Young Caymanian Leadership Award in 2006. Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden's public service reflects her deep commitment to the people. She has served on the boards of the Health Services Authority, Generations Now, and the Immigration Appeals Tribunal. She also worked with the Young Business and Professional Women's Club on a task force that helped shape legislation to prevent sexual harassment and stalking. Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden brings a strong track record of service, innovative leadership, and a heart for her community. As the PPM candidate for Georgetown West, she's ready to champion the issues that matter most to her constituents. Welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Hunter Walton is running as an independent candidate for Georgetown West. He's a 28-year-old entrepreneur and independent candidate shaking up the political scene in Georgetown West. Born and raised in the district, Mr. Walton brings lived experience and a fresh perspective to the table. He's not tied to party lines. His only loyalty is to his people. When COVID-19 cut short his water sports career, Mr. Walton turned adversity into an opportunity. He used a government stipend to launch a successful moving business, then went on to open Cafecito Coffee Shop, now a vital local gathering spot. His drive and resilience reflect the spirit of Caymanians navigating today's rising costs and shrinking opportunities. Mr. Walton's campaign is laser-focused on real issues. Nationally, he's calling for smarter immigration policies, better job opportunities for locals, and concrete action to reduce the cost of living. Locally, he's tackling the flooding that plagues neighborhoods, traffic that clogs daily life, and the urgent need for affordable housing. His leadership style is grounded in action, not promises. Mr. Walton is out in the community registering voters daily, listening to concerns and pushing for change. He's clear about his mission. No delays, no excuses, just results. Mr. Walton says he represents a new generation of leadership, bold, transparent, and genuinely accountable to the people of Georgetown West. Welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Tyree Hernandez is running as an independent candidate for Georgetown West. He's the oldest of 5 siblings and was raised in a strong Christian home in Windsor Park, where values such as faith, hard work, and community have shaped his life from an early age. He attended Edinburgh Adventist School and the Truth for Youth School before graduating from the Cayman Islands High School with strong academic results in English, mathematics, agriculture, and other subjects. Bilingual in English and Spanish, Mr. Hernandez brings a grounded and practical perspective to the political table. His career spans a wide range of roles, from Foster's Food Fair and office equipment sales to road construction and stormwater management at the National Roads Authority. After a workplace injury in 2019, Mr. Hernandez didn't slow down. He launched his own handyman and renovation business, continuing to support his family while staying connected to the community. A devoted husband and father of 6, Mr. Hernandez and his family are active members of the Philadelphia Seventh-day Adventist Church. Now running for Member of Parliament in Georgetown West, Mr. Hernandez is stepping up not for fame or fortune, but because he's fed up with broken promises. His focus is on tackling the cost of living, pushing for low-income housing, addressing traffic issues, and improving prison rehabilitation programs. He's ready to act on day one. Mr. Hernandez's campaign is about honesty, service, and solutions for the people by one of their own. Welcome.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we return, we'll begin the questioning for our candidates. Please stay tuned.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Why is my bill higher? These days, it might seem like the cost of everything is going up here in Cayman. When it comes to your energy bill, this may be no exception. You may be wondering why your bill is higher when you haven't done anything different in your home. Here are some common factors that will increase your energy usage. As temperatures outside increase, your air conditioning unit has to run longer to keep your house cool, even if you haven't adjusted the thermostat. During the summer months, cooling your home can make up more than half of your energy bill. It's important to maintain your AC so that it can function as efficiently as possible. Changing your AC filters can also help with ensuring units are functioning properly. Remember, for every degree you turn up your thermostat, you can save on your monthly energy cost. Turn off your AC when no one is home. Thermostat should not be set any lower than 78 degrees. Also consider closing blinds and drapes on the sunny side of your home. This will help reduce the temperature inside your home. Remember to consider energy waste. Think about the items in your home that are using energy, like gaming computers and ceiling fans. Always unplug and turn these items off when they are not in use or needed. This will help you conserve. Now that you have some energy saving tips, you can track your consumption daily on MyCUSave. Learn more at www.cuc-cayman.com.
Welcome to Affinity Recruitment. Hi, I'm Michelle Aubert, founder and managing director for Affinity Recruitment. Affinity specializes in financial services recruitment and corporate innovation services. We can be reached at 943-2020. We're located in the heart of Georgetown at Piccadilly Center.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for Georgetown West. We've gone through the introductions. Now we're going to turn over to the questioning for the candidates for this evening, and I'll turn it over to Chamber President Omari Corbin.
Thanks, Will. Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden, we'll start with you for question number 1. Why have you decided to run in this election, and how do you plan to represent the people of Georgetown West if elected?
Thank you so much for the question. And of course, good night, Georgetown West and the wider Cayman Islands. So the question is, why have I decided to run in this election? Trust me when I say it has been the most difficult decision of my life, and difficult for so many different reasons, because this is my 4th time running. However, in canvassing Georgetown West, it must have been around 8 o'clock at night. This was the last door that we were actually visiting, the last person. And it was an elder gentleman, and he was around 92. And we simply, we asked all of the constituents in Georgetown West, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And what changes would you like to see in Georgetown West and the wider Cayman Islands? And his reply to me was, he's actually doing okay. He was just recently actually had surgery at the HSA, and it was a knee surgery. And of course, upon exiting the HSA, he was offered a $25,000 bill, or gifted a $25,000 bill, depending on how you look at it. And so I don't know if it was sheer exhaustion or if I thought of my mother or my father in that moment. But I literally had a moment, and my canvassers had to say, try to get it together. Because it hit home. It hit home because, one, I saw my parents. But more importantly, I don't understand, as a thriving society, how we're not taking care of the elderly. And so that instilled and evoked in me the reason why I was running for Georgetown West. I'm running for Georgetown West, not just because I have the leadership skills, not because I'm academically inclined, it's because I have a drive and a passion for my people in the Cayman Islands. I think we are a society that, although we are thriving, our people are not. And so I'm here to advocate on their behalf. I'm here to be a voice for the people that don't have a voice, or the voiceless. I'm here for individuals that need leaders when it comes to government. And whether we like it or not, I think a politician has played significant role when it comes to the people in the Cayman Islands, especially me. They have played a very integral role. And with that being said, at the end of the day, because they made such an impact in my life, I now know that this is the most meaningful opportunity and the most meaningful way to give back to the people of the Cayman Islands. So when you talk about leadership, when you talk about an individual who obviously have the skills and have attained the skills, you're also talking about a person who have a heart for my people and who wants the best for my people. I have seen them, I've heard them, and I will be there when it comes to the people of Georgetown West. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden. Mr. Walton?
Same question. Good night to everybody. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. And thank you to the candidates for joining me here tonight. The reason I've decided to run in this election, as a young Caymanian at 28 years old, I've seen enough. I've seen enough of the politics as usual, promises being made and never followed through. And I've decided that, there's a saying, you got to be the change you want to see in the world. And that's what I'm hoping to achieve here. I'm putting myself forward for the betterment of my country, my family, my friends. I know through hard work and dedication and strong, bold leadership that we can achieve anything. And I hope to be that change, that guiding light for Georgetown West. And I'm trying my best, and I hope you guys see that. And in my plans on how I'm going to represent Georgetown West, I plan on being the best leader you guys have ever had. I listen to the people. I'm an independent candidate, which means I answer to you, not to the parties or special interests. My only special interest is the people of the Cayman Islands. And I think through that collaboration between myself and the people of Georgetown West, that we can achieve a lot. We can achieve a lot in 4 years. And I think it's time for real, strong, bold leadership. And that's why I decided to step forward as an independent candidate and put myself, in this election. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walton. Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you for the question. Good evening, Georgetown West. Good evening, Cayman Islands. It's my pleasure to be here as your representative tonight. I'm a candidate that will get the job done. I'm not an empty promise. I'm a barrel full of water. When you're thirsty, you get water to drink. I'm here because I'm tired of all of the promises. The last politician that we had, representative for Georgetown West, left us 8 years of emptiness, nothing done in our community. Our elders are suffering, our parks are deteriorating, our basketball courts are being left just to nature, Mother Nature itself. Sorry about that. When it comes to the rest of us around the Georgetown West community, I've seen the flooding. I've seen the problem with traffic. I'm from Georgetown West, the Windsor Park area, and Windsor Park is like another highway. We need to take control of it. Traffic is everywhere. I put myself forward because experience taught me that we can control what's happening. We can make that change. That traffic problem that we're having, those elderly people that are being left behind, I have a plan. If you elect me, when you elect me, April 30th, I'm going to be the voice that you need. I'm going to be that person that goes to where you need to get that job done. Georgetown West, thank you for having me as your candidate.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. Walton, question number 2 will start with you. What are the top 3 national issues you would prioritize if elected, and why are they most urgent to address?
Thank you for the question. For me, the top 3 national issues that we face in Cayman are going to be immigration, jobs, and housing. I'll start with immigration. The population has grown out of control. Our current immigration department cannot handle the influx of the immigration in the Cayman Islands. I believe that we need to increase the staffing and technology and streamline some of these processes and, get up to date. We're seeing a lot of issues with enforcement, especially within the with the work permits. A lot of work permit abuse. Work permit holders are jumping from job to job to job, and these employers are completely bypassing Caymanians, as well as working outside the scope of their work permit and operating illegal businesses, which is affecting our economy negatively. As a young Caymanian with a business, if somebody else is operating an illegal business, it affects me. So in immigration, these are the things I want to clamp down on, as well as the PR point system. We're giving away status. We're selling our rights. That needs to change. Caymanians are already the minority in the country. We're losing our culture. We're losing our heritage. And I plan to fix these problems if I'm elected. As it pertains to jobs as well, this also falls under immigration. Caymanians aren't being employed. And if they are being employed, unfortunately, they're getting the bitter end of the stick. $6 an hour minimum wage is absolutely unacceptable. There are Caymanians that are surviving on that. And we need to act. And that's a part of the reason I'm running, because I've heard this conversation over and over again, and yet nothing has been done. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to get things done. As well as housing. I can tell you, I'm here sitting on stage as a candidate for Georgetown West, and I suffer from a lot of the same problems as all of our Caymanians when it comes to housing. Housing is just simply unaffordable. And I think these 3 go together well because, in my opinion, housing has been caused by the weak immigration policies that have been put in place. We're selling, like I said, we're selling status. It's based on points. Those points are based on investment properties, and we're creating an artificial demand for luxury apartments in Cayman when these developers should be prioritizing affordable housing for Caymanians. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walton. Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you for the question. The top 3 national issues that I would prioritize if and when elected has to do with traffic control. It has to do with housing, affordable housing, not just any housing. It has to do with prison reform. I have a plan that starts from prison reform. Ladies and gentlemen of the Cayman Islands, not only Georgetown West, this is a national issue. We have a prison system that is costing us to house each inmate thousands of dollars every year. We have 80 to 85 foreign prisoners that are just there lavishing over what's being spent on them every year. When I'm elected, that's going to change. Jobs that are in the prisons that should be given to Caymanians, that's going to change. The proper benefits that should be given to Caymanians from those jobs, that's going to go to Caymanians. That's going to change. I also have a plan for traffic control. It has to do with starting with the government. I believe that a good leader has always been a good follower first. And if we lead by example, by being the government, we can alleviate the problems with traffic in the Cayman Islands. We can stop throwing millions of dollars every year at building shoulders on the roads. That does not work. Every time that there's a shoulder and expansion to a road, there's a fatality. That needs to change. When I'm elected, you can look forward to knowing that these things are going to be my most urgent matters to prioritize. My next matter would be to deal with the elderly. My mom is 78 years old, and sad to say she had a stroke 4 years ago. We need better care for our elderly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden.
One of the things that the PPM has been charged with, and one of the things that isn't in the manifesto, is reforming the immigration. And we have to reform immigration because from reforming immigration, it trickles down to so many different factors in our society, such as these national issues. These national issues consist of traffic, housing, cost of living, or one thing or another. So I think once we start with reforming immigration, and reforming means closing as much loopholes as there is, as much as possible, because I think we are seeing an abuse of work permits in our society. And because that is actually happening from that level, every single person is now coming into the Cayman Islands and is causing a strain on infrastructure, is causing a congestion when it comes to traffic, is causing housing to skyrocket. So definitely when it comes to one of the major national issues that we have to tackle is reforming immigration. That's first and foremost. Secondly, in walking around Georgetown West, another major issue is housing. We have to be able to be in this society where everyone can thrive, which includes affordable housing especially for our young people. Like I said, in walking around Georgetown West, so many people have actually left the island because they can't afford a house here. That's unacceptable for a nation that we consider to be first class. Secondly, another issue is the cost of living. The cost of living has just skyrocketed. How we plan to address that from the PPM standpoint is that we have to increase minimum wage, and we have mandated it in our actual manifesto, which is $9 per hour. Right now, the $6 is not a livable wage for any person. It's pushing people below the poverty line. And we may say, okay, it doesn't impact Caymanians, it still impact people that are living within our country, and it's totally unacceptable. So definitely that's one of the things that we have to address when it comes to the cost of living, housing and traffic congestion. This is probably my second or third forum. And I can honestly say this has been an issue over and over, and we're still coming up. It's not that the solutions are not there. One of the solutions is flexible hours. It's not that it's not there. It's just that people are refusing to act. We need leaders in this country, such like the PPM, that's going to act upon things such as traffic congestion, such as affordable housing, and such as the cost of living.
Thank you.
The next three questions are based on the Chamber's pillar of advancing quality of life. And Mr. Hernandez will start with you for question number 3, which is based on affordable housing. What specific steps will you take to address the affordable housing needs of the residents of Georgetown West?
Thank you for the question. Going back to what I was saying earlier, my whole plan has to do with the prison system. When you put the numbers together, $93,000 a year per person at 85 prisoners works out to be almost $8 million. That's per year. And that's just for foreign prisoners. We can lower our cost of living and build affordable houses from that money saved. In 2024, Cayman Brac had set aside $1 million to build 9 affordable homes. They're not built yet, but they had $1 million set aside for that. Georgetown West, I'm saving you just one way, $8 million every year. What can we do with that money? We can purchase land. We can put skilled prisoners to work, lowering contractors' costs, lowering Cayman's cost. We can build affordable houses at a different rate just through using my prison system. We're going to send the prisoners back. I've worked all my life. I'm 54 years old, 5 grandchildren, 6 kids. One of my kids are away. They left because they cannot afford to be here. My other kids, the 2 adults, are struggling. There's 3 younger kids. What's going to happen to them? Well, I have a plan. $8 million, first year, 85 prisoners, back where they came from. Remaining prisoners, we're going to put them to work. There's no more freebies. They're going to earn their way. Everybody else has to pay their way through society, so why can't they pay? Why should it be a burden on the Cayman Islands for the wrongs that you've done? So I say it's time for that to stop. I say it's time for us to put them to work. Let them earn their keep. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Mrs. McGaul-Lumsden.
So thank you for the question. Again, if someone has taken the time, and you will take the time if you haven't, with regards to the PPM manifesto and something that we're going to push once we're elected come May 1st. Regarding housing, again, in walking around Georgetown West, there are so many young people that are feeling ostracized and disenfranchised. And that is something that we obviously have to address and address it immediately, because I honestly didn't realize that the significant amount of individuals that can't afford housing, that don't have access to housing. And in addition to that, in walking around Georgetown, I realized that families, it used to be 2 persons under that family housing. It's now 3 and 4 because they can't even afford to rent either, because the cost of living is so high and rent is so high. So something that PPM is going to look into come May 1st is obviously affordable housing. We have acquired, or they did acquire in their last, I think it was 2021, they had acquired around 20 acres of land on the Ladeford-Pearson Highway. And that is something that they intend to look at and build affordable housing. And when I say build affordable housing, I don't mean just building, but maintaining is also important. They have to be efficient houses so that the cost of living is not astronomical when it comes to these houses. In addition to that, when it comes to the PPM mandate, what we're planning to do is rent-to-own programs. That must be also implemented. That is something that was obviously taken away by the last government. And that's something that we plan to look at again. And lastly, I think when it comes to affordable housing for the people of Georgetown West and the Cayman Islands, not just for the people of Georgetown West, because like we know, it is a national issue. It's just not a constituency issue. The last thing that we will look at is we have to have private-public partnership. It is really that simple. There's nowhere that the government, and it is in our manifesto, cannot go to local developers, because we have reputable local developers, and say to them, here is the concessions, rather than giving it to, the big timers, the big developers. We have to say to our local developers, here is the concessions. And for that, give us 5 different homes that obviously that Caymanians can need to get qualified, but that can become their homes. Those are the dialogues that we're going to have. These are tough decisions and tough times. And I honestly believe the only people and the only party that can obviously, get things done would be the PPM government. And so those are the 3 things that we plan to look at when it comes to affordable housing.
Thank you, Mrs. McGaul-Lumsden. Mr. Walton.
Thank you. In the past, we've seen the PPM government give these concessions. Unfortunately, those concessions were given to luxury developers. So at this point in 2025, I do not think that we can trust them with giving away concessions. Unfortunately, they may end up doing the same that is done in the past. My solution for affordable housing is to end the PR point system for investors in land. Once we stop thousands of people coming here to seek PR and status through the purchase of land, we will see the market change. The market will no longer have a high demand for luxury apartments, which Caymanians cannot afford. I understand it's business, but it's not fair. This is our country. Then you will see these developers turn around and start to build more affordable housing, because obviously Caymanians are in need of affordable housing. In terms of concessions, I think that concessions should be given, obviously for the use of affordable housing and not luxury. But we should look at smaller construction companies. The average Caymanian, pick them up off the street, offer them a low interest development loan to contribute to the housing crisis that we're having. Additionally, I think that the government needs to look into a rent control board. I know that some people may be afraid of this. However, we can create a board that is fair to the renters and fair to the landlords, to create more of a stable market so that it's not artificially inflated. We've seen this in the past during COVID, where prices shot up. People were just moved out of their houses or moved out of their neighborhoods. We have a serious issue here in Cayman with displacement. And if we do not get our hands, our sleeves rolled up and get down with the dirty work and get it done, nothing's going to change. And that's why I'm here, because I understand the solutions. And if we want to talk about a real solution that, again, will need to be under discussion, especially with people like the chamber form, I'm proposing that the next government is to pass a Housing Equity and Equality Act. This is a bill where the government will mandate a strict law. If we're serious about housing, we need to implement strict laws and require that these developers build either 10% or 20% affordable housing for Caymanians. And this can be done, but it takes willpower, okay? Not broken promises and not concessions to luxury developers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walton.
Question number 4, Mrs. McGaw-Lunsden, we'll start with you. Given the ongoing challenges with inadequate parking in Georgetown West, what solutions do you propose to make the town center more accessible and user-friendly for residents and visitors? Additionally, what are your recommendations for rejuvenating Georgetown to bring more life, business, and community activity back into the area?
That's a very long one. Regarding the inadequate parking in Georgetown, again, I think this has to be a public-private partnership. For instance, Piccadilly Square will offer a significant amount of parking. Is that something that the government can acquire and obviously provide parking from that element? But in addition to that, I think we saw sometime last year, there was actually a bus shuttle. And that was something that was quite effective, that individuals just park at their workplaces and actually use the bus shuttle to transport them to various different destinations in Georgetown. That was something that affected, but was obviously underused. We can bring that back one more time again. But parking in Georgetown, that goes back to there's too much cars on the island, but we also need a robust transportation system. Is as simple as that. And again, we have discussed this over and over. We need a modernized transportation so it doesn't create congestion in Georgetown. And in addition to that, we also should try to look about flexible hours when it comes to the people in Georgetown, not just from the private sector, but from the public sector. That is going to alleviate so much traffic congestions and obviously address the inadequate parking that we have in Georgetown. And regarding the rejuvenating of Georgetown to bring more life, we know that the Georgetown revitalization is happening at this moment. All of us go to Cayman Bay, and Cayman Bay motto is live, dine, and play, I think if I remember correctly. We want to bring that back to Georgetown, and that's what the Georgetown Revitalization Program is about. It's an initiative. It's not a project. And what developers in Georgetown want to see in this initiative is that they can actually see some progress, and therefore they're going to now intervene and become part of the process. And that's why you're seeing old buildings are now being restructured, such as Elizabethan Square. You're also seeing the pop-up of 1GT because they're injecting life into the actual project itself and into the Georgetown, which obviously is our nation's capital. We also have to think about, and I hope the second phase of the revitalization is obviously a mixed use Georgetown. We want to be able to copy whatever Commander Bay offers, and that's live, play, work in Georgetown. We travel to various different destinations in this world, and we can see this is what countries are doing. They are revitalizing their capital, and that's something that we should be very proud of. And it was a PPM initiative, and we intend to stick with it and push it forward.
Thank you. Mr. Walton?
Could you repeat the question for me, please?
Given the ongoing challenges with inadequate parking in Georgetown West, what solutions do you propose to make the town center more accessible and user-friendly for residents and visitors? Additionally, what are your recommendations for rejuvenating Georgetown to bring more life, business, and community activity back into the area?
Thank you for the question. With the issue of parking in Georgetown and all across Georgetown West, one of the things I was looking at was creating more additional road infrastructure for bicycles and walking lanes. It's very unsafe to walk just down the street in Georgetown West. And we have areas where the government has built sidewalks that lead to dead ends or you have to cross the street to get on another sidewalk. So I think altogether in Georgetown West, if we create more community walkability, allow people to be able to walk, bicycle lanes so they can use their electric bicycles safely. Unfortunately, we've lost a lot of lives on the roads in the last years. And so this is something I'm trying to do is create more green spaces, some public, improve the park. Windsor Park is in terrible condition. If any of you guys get a chance to go down there and see, you can see what proven stable leadership looks like. The Windsor Park is absolutely destroyed, and it's been that way. And in terms of bringing business back to Georgetown, I think that the government needs to take on an initiative where they purchase the properties that are there in this Georgetown central location. I don't believe that we should be rejuvenating Georgetown for someone else. I think that we should gain access to the properties, redevelop them, make them mixed use, provide low-income housing or rent under rent control on the second floor. And at the bottom, we need to see more restaurants. We need to see more shops. It can't just be for the tourists. We need to invite our people back into the area. So through mixed-use developments and community walkability, I think all of this is possible. But again, I would like to see the government step in, start to purchase properties, redevelop for the benefit of Caymanian people. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you for the question. With respect to inadequate parking in Georgetown, again, going back to my original plan about the traffic, government should be the leaders, is my belief. If we take the major government departments and put them on the outskirts of town, we alleviate the problem with parking. We alleviate the problem with traffic. That's one solution. Another solution is vertical parking. There is some, not enough, vertical parking in the Georgetown area. I can only think of one building, two buildings at the moment, and one is private to a company. So partnering with private owners, we can acquire properties and implement some private parking vertically. That's what I'm planning to implement if elected. Another thing would be a shuttling around Georgetown. People who have, when we spread out of Georgetown, we would be providing a bus service or a shuttle service that would pick them up and take them to their respective destinations. As far as to rejuvenating Georgetown and bringing back more life and business to the community, I remember back in the day as a kid, we used to have things like Family Fair Day, where we used to block off the road from the town clock, go straight back to the post office. We need to bring those days back. Community, family. Those were the things that kept people coming back to Cayman over and over, if nothing more, one time a year for the events that we hosted, the Family Fair Day. Everybody got together, the young and the old. And I feel that this is what we need to be bringing back. The business community, Georgetown, that is the way forward. Take the businesses out of Georgetown. We want to make Georgetown an attraction for people, not a concrete jungle that it is already. Thank you.
Well, thank you,
Thank you.
candidates. We've gone through the first round of questions. We're going to take a short commercial break. Please stay tuned.
EV public charging can be a bit tricky to navigate if you're new to the game. But fear not. Here's a little 101 on all things public charging at your CUC charge station. The first tip is to get the mobile app up and ready on your phone before you charge your EV at the charging location. You can scan the QR code to load the app from sitting in your car. Download the mobile app, register a charge account, load money into your charge wallet. You must have a minimum of US $5 balance in your charge wallet to begin a charging session. Scan the QR code again to start a charging session using this charger. You can also enter the station ID number into the app. Follow the instructions on the mobile app to initiate your charging session. Now you're ready to charge your EV. Select either the right or the left charge plug. Plug your car in and make sure it shows as charging on your dashboard. Charging for 1 hour will give you up to 35 miles of charge. Charging to 80% optimizes battery life and reduces the risk of overcharging. So in that time, you can shop or go to work or chat with fellow EV owners. It's a real community out there. Great to see you, Maya. Happy charging, everyone. See you on the road.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Welcome to Affinity Recruitment. Hi, I'm Michelle Aubert, founder and managing director for Affinity Recruitment. Affinity specializes in financial services recruitment and corporate innovation services. We can be reached at 943-2020. We're located in the heart of Georgetown at Piccadilly Center.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for Georgetown West. Now we're going to begin the second round of questions on the pillar Advancing Quality of Life. And the next topic will be crime prevention and reduction. Over to you, Mr. Corbin.
Thanks, Will. Mr. Walton, we'll start with you for question number 5. There was a time when residents felt safe enough to leave cars and house doors unlocked, but rising crime has changed that. What are your views on crime prevention, and what specific actions would you take to enhance public safety, particularly considering the impact that crime can have on investor confidence and tourism?
Thank you for the question. You raise a good point that, it could affect investor confidence and tourism. So it's important that, we nip it in the bud. For starters, things that I would like to do and my community are telling me is that they would like to see more Caymanian police. And I agree with them because, when a Caymanian police officer approaches my car, he shares a similar value, similar culture as me, and I feel a lot more comfortable. And a part of the issue with the police working with the community is that the community simply does not feel as if they can trust the police officers that we do have. So I believe by Caymanian police officers being in the force, people are going to be more willing to help and, call in and give tips and hopefully solve some of these crimes. Additionally, I spoke about the park earlier in Windsor Park. This is the perfect place to start some youth mentorship and training programs. I mean, get the kids engaged, teach them, and move them into proper training, vocational training, and entrepreneurship. As a young entrepreneur, I know that young Caymanians are capable of doing business. Why not get them from a young age, where they're idle after the years of leaving high school, and train them and teach them about the ways of entrepreneurship and get them into the working class. And this does start in the schools as well. I think that we need to have more community engagement for the schools. People like myself, a young Caymanian entrepreneur, should be invited to the schools to talk to the children, to try to inspire them to look forward to a future here in Cayman. And again, it is very unfortunate that the crime has risen in Georgetown West. And from what I've seen, unfortunately, it has been our own Caymanians. And this is due to lack of opportunity. And that's why we need to address these things immediately. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walton. Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you for the question. My views on crime is that it's through the roof. They say the devil finds work for idle hands, and that is so true. The actions that I would take to enhance public safety would be more policing. More policing in the sense that we have more police presence in our community. I've lived in the Windsor Park area just about all of my life. And when I noticed policing going on was a little over 3 years ago. And it was for a particular instant. Since then, I can't see the police anymore. So what's happening with them? We need to change that. More community police, more policing in general needs to happen into the Windsor Park area. I remember, like you said, the question, when we could lie down and sleep with our doors unlocked, our windows up. I did it myself in my own home. I think that the way forward is opportunities for Caymanians. With the plans that I have, it all trickles down to this same sort of stuff. By us providing opportunities for Caymanians, paying them fair wages, giving them proper education as far as the job and roles that they're going to be taking up, I honestly believe that the crime would stop. Investors would be more inclined to coming to Cayman because our crime rate would drop. This is all part of my prison reform plan. It trickles right down to the finest detail.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden?
Thankfully, I can honestly say I don't think it's gotten out of control. But in canvassing Georgetown West, it is quite a concern with a number of individuals. And what they have said to me, and I totally agree with them, is that we need to increase, or they used to have community policing and they used to feel a lot safer in their communities. That's something, if elected, I think that I'm going to obviously implement, because we are talking about safety of individuals and people want to feel safe, not just tourists, but residents also want to feel safe in this community. That's one angle. The other angle is that we have to increase the number of police officers. And it's just that simple. Because at the end of the day, I think they're completely stretched. And while I don't know the full scope of the situation, I know by beefing up the police force, it's going to be able to tackle various different issues that we're facing in the country. That's one way. Another way is for teachers and mentors and youth leaders to identify individuals that we're finding that's vulnerable in our community, that is more positioned or think that's leaning towards gang-related behavior. That is something in PPM has mandated to do, that we're going to try to target those individuals and try to redirect them in a very positive way, and redirect them into programs such as entrepreneurships, redirect them in a path that is going to be positive and impactful. We have to tackle this from a holistic approach. It's not a one answer. There's so many different angles that we're dealing with when it comes to crime. But in addition to that, what we need to do is probably more cameras in the Cayman Islands. And that's obviously going to lead us into various different directions when it comes to crime. Another safety control that people can start to think about are buzzers, believe it or not, in small businesses. If you're buzzing in a small business or use a buzzer to try to get into a small business, you can obviously see and identify, and your instincts is going to tell you something is off and don't actually open. Security officers also have a role to play with regards to crimes in the Cayman Islands. And I think we need to retrain them and upskill them as well to deter certain behaviors such as crime, gang-related activity, theft that's happening within the country, to make everybody feel safe.
Thank you, Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden.
Mr. Hernandez, we're moving on to the chamber pillar, building a future-ready workforce. Many employers report that students entering the workforce lack the necessary skills and experience to meet job requirements, leading to the reliance on work permit holders. What specific strategies would you recommend to bridge the gap between education and employment, enabling more Caymanian students to secure these opportunities?
Thank you for the question. Excellent question. I refer to my daughter that moved away from the Cayman Islands to find a better living. She just couldn't afford it. Her husband, and her 2 kids. It's a very touchy subject for me. And sad at the same time because it's my child. She's away. So how do I bridge these gaps? Cayman needs to proper educate their students in the workforce. Educate them as far as to what jobs are available. When it comes to them getting scholarships, we need to encourage our students to study for what's available, not what they want. If we study for what's available, there shouldn't be a problem with when they return to the Cayman Islands landing that job because they have studied for it. There can't be an excuse from the employers or the places that are offering jobs in regards to, they're overqualified, they're underqualified because they studied just that for that particular position. Education. We need, in my opinion, a proper trade school because it's not everybody that's going to be an accountant. It's not everybody that's going to be a lawyer. It's not everybody that's going to be a judge. Someone will only know how to pick up trash. But there's a skill to it. If you pick up trash on the wrong end, if it has mess on inside of it, you're gonna get your hands messed up. So proper education as far as the job training is concerned with trade schools here in the Cayman Islands, teaching our kids what they need to know for the jobs that are available in the Cayman Islands would alleviate this problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden.
So I'll approach it from two angles. And the first angle is we have to look at it from a personal standpoint. I have 29 nieces and nephews, and what I tell them is junior summers, fine, you have 6, you have 8 weeks. Spend the half of that traveling because obviously you can't pay for that. But the other half, find yourself in a job opportunity, create that job opportunity and go into that institution. and what that's going to do for our young people. And I think our young people are feeling at this as well, because it's not just, we're just blaming the government, or we're blaming private sector. Everybody has a role to play. And so that opportunity and going to those work opportunities and those job sites is going to have you network and also put your foot in the door, so that when you finish graduating, you already have one foot in the door, and that's an easy transition for you. That's the first thing that I would have to say when it comes to our young people. The second is, from a ministry standpoint, we have to have employment, labor, and education under one umbrella. The business staffing plans have over 3,000, 4,000, I don't know the exact numbers, that they approve business staffing plans every 5 years. Scholarship need to track the individuals and say that say for instance, we're 2 years out of somebody that has a marketing or is about to attain a marketing degree. Look under those business staffing plans and who has that, and issue a final work permit for that individual once that person is due to graduate. That is how you're going to work in sync. Right now, we're all working in silo and nobody's actually talking to each other, collaborating, and that's something that needs to happen from a national standpoint. So we'll take it from the personal standpoint. Young people, I implore each and every single one of you, start networking. 90% of the things that I have attained is not just because of academics that I have. It's because I've socially networked with individuals to push me through that door. But in addition, again, like I said, we have to put these ministries under one umbrella, because one benefit and they should all communicate to, obviously, for the betterment of our young people in the workforce.
Thank you. Mr. Walton?
Thank you for the question. The question was that many employers report that students are entering the workforce and they lack the necessary skills. And unfortunately, this is painfully obvious. Within our government schools, we have high illiteracy rates and numeracy rates. And it starts with our children. The future of this country is with our children. And it's going to start with education. So what I would propose is an education reform where we update the curriculum for the schools to a more modernized curriculum, one that's being used with some of the higher standard schools on island, the private schools, and that's the STEM program, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and maths. This will prepare our students for a future in any field, not just finance or tourism, as well as teaching critical thinking, financial literacy, cultural heritage. Our children do not understand where they're coming from, so how can they know where they're going? Additionally, we've heard the promises of the trade schools longer than I've been alive, and I can tell you right now, I don't think it's going to happen. But however, I think the government does need to look into training our young Caymanians into the high earning industries, the high earning trades, like real estate. Cayman is among one of the very few countries in the world where someone can come from overseas, get a job and sell real estate and make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I actually wanted to be a real estate. Unfortunately, due to lax labor laws, I was bypassed, and obviously a work permit replaced me. So the solution for that is to reform our education system, implement STEM, get our Caymanian teachers there, teach them properly, pay them well, help them with housing, introduce teachers' aides, get the young people involved in teaching, and move on to training our Caymanians. If they want to go away and get a trade, we should offer scholarships. Additionally, like I said, training Caymanians in high-earning trades so that they can make a living here. And I think that this could be done through partnering with companies as well. We need to put more expectations on the private sector when it comes to apprenticeship and training programs. And additionally, one thing I will not stand for if I'm elected is that any company taking a government contract, keyword, must train Caymanians in that industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden, we'll start with you for question number 7, which is on the topic of jobs of the future. With artificial intelligence rapidly transforming the way businesses operate, from replacing specific jobs to reducing and enhancing efficiency, the nature of work is undergoing significant changes. What strategies would you propose to help Caymanians adapt to these shifts, including the type of education, training, and support needed to prepare for the new jobs that AI and emerging technologies will create?
These questions are mighty long. Okay. I think I fully don't have a grasp of what's happening with AI, and that's the honest God truth. But I think once we have at the forefront that we have to train, mitigate, and prepare, it's just that simple. At this time, we don't know what jobs are going to be relevant or irrelevant. But I do know that some of the jobs that will be remain relevant is in the creative industry. And when I say the creative industry, I mean writers. I'm talking about architects. I'm talking about design, filmmakers. Somehow or another, we now need to train our young people to start thinking of jobs like that. And if we train and we mitigate and we prepare these young people, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be something that's going to be no matter if AI comes into play, they're going to be ready for the future, no matter what AI brings at us. And that those are industries that we have to think about. We also have to increase funding, and we have to continue to upskill and encourage young people to get involved in TVET programs. Those skills are not going to go away. And if we continue to instill in them that, you know what, it doesn't matter if you're a lawyer, doctor, an accountant. Trust me, a carpenter, a plumber, they make just as good of money as other people. And for some reason, it's ingrained in us that, we have to become, these prestigious occupation. And in essence, we really don't. You have to do what you love, and we have to push them in the direction. When it comes to AI, we have to have a change in mindset. And when it comes to AI, because some jobs will definitely become irrelevant and some will stay relevant, and we have to just train, mitigate, and prepare them for the future.
Thank you, Mrs. McGaw-Limson. Mr. Walton?
Thank you. I agree with Ms. Perlina that AI is quickly becoming the future. It's almost like the internet. If you ignore the internet, what is it today? It's almost in everything we do. And a part of my plan for supporting young entrepreneurs and businesses in Cayman was to not only provide low interest loans that we desperately need, but create some sort of an innovation hub where our government is supporting innovation. They can offer grants for startups, or even offer training for Caymanian business entrepreneurs to help guide them through all the red tape and everything else that's been created. So I think, through this innovation hub, it can be a place where if you need help, you can get it. And I think that's what a lot of young entrepreneurs need today. I can tell you how many times I've needed help. And, it's something that I hope to achieve is an entrepreneur training center as well as an innovation hub. We are very reliant on tourism and finance in this country. And unfortunately, there's a lot of competition in the financial market, and tourism is dwindling due to destruction of our environment. So Cayman needs to move forward, and we need to be more innovative. And I think that Cayman is severely unadvertised as a place to do business. I think that we can market Cayman as an international hub, invite major companies in financial technologies, Bitcoin, AI, invite them here to host forums so that we can develop and get into those industries and build a more sustainable and resilient economy, so that we have a future here in Cayman in 100 years and not just run it to the ground within the next 20. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walton. Mr. Hernandez?
I agree with both Mr. Hunter and Ms. Perlina in this aspect. I believe that training is the key. If we properly train every person that is going to all of this with new jobs, AI, again, I don't know what AI is, but the way that the world is changing nowadays, listening to both of the comments, I agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Question number 8, Mr. Walton, we'll start with you. In 2024, 107.7 million in government revenue was derived from work permit fees. There is an ongoing discussion about the necessity of reducing work permits in favor of increasing opportunities for Caymanians. Do you agree with this perspective? If so, what strategies would you propose to replace the lost revenue currently generated from work permits?
Thank you for the question. I agree. I think the work permits have gotten out of control. Caymanians are a minority in our own country, and if anybody thinks that that's okay, you need to get checked. So I think that we do need to reduce the number of work permits on the island. But like you said, unfortunately, it produces a lot of revenue. And that's one of the things that our government and our past governments have struggled with in the past, is finding non-invasive ways of generating revenue. Instead of, taxing luxury goods, they tend to look at food, baby products, medication, and essentials. So as we start to work our way away from the reliance on the work permits, and we're training our Caymanians, we're prioritizing them in the workforce, we've increased the minimum wage, we need to start to develop non-invasive ways of generating revenue. And things like tiered business licensing fees, where companies that don't hire enough Caymanians get taxed on an additional fee. And if you're okay with not hiring Caymanians, that's fine. You're just going to pay the fee. But if you meet a certain requirement of Caymanians within your business, we can reduce those fees or offer subsidies to those businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you for the question. Do I agree? Definitely, yes. Strategies, I go back to my original statement with my prison reform plan. We're not going to have to worry about that $107 million that government gets in revenue every year off of work permits, because I'm going to be saving the government umpteen amount of money every year. That $107 million, we're not going to miss it. Work permits, yes, they're through the roof. We have to change that. It's only us that can change that. We ourselves are our own worst enemies, because there are Caymanians that are doing it to their own Caymanians in the form of, oh, we don't need you. You're overqualified. You're underqualified. That needs to stop. But my plan is to save the government money, not cost the government money. So where we might be losing in one area, it might seem as a loss, but we're gaining it back in another area. I call that balance. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden?
Do I agree with this perspective? Yes, I do. But I say that to say this because I only agree with the perspective that we are losing control of the Cayman Islands when it comes to various different work permits on the island. And while that revenue could be lost, I think we have to think about another pillar in this economy. And to me, although medical tourism is thriving, we have to think about a pillar such as sports tourism. And that obviously is going to generate significant amount of revenue that's obviously going to be lost by work permits or other areas that we are spending excessively when it comes to the Cayman Islands government. And if we think about, I was involved in Cayman Invitational, I think maybe 8 years ago, and we saw the likes of 400 international athletes. And I'm saying sports tourism because now we have the world's fastest swimmer, the record holder in the Cayman Islands. That's something that we need to piggyback on and to definitely think of, can sports tourism thrive here? It can, because geographically we're situated in an ideal location. And like I said, I was part of an organization that brought over 400 international track stars here, including Usain Bolt. And that trickled down to bus tours, restaurants, hotel. So the revenue from that alone was significant. Of course, it has stopped, but of course, when we think about it, does infrastructure have to improve? Yes, they do. But are we a key destination that can obviously have sports tourism work? Yes, I think that we can, and that can generate significant revenue. And also we have to continue to push medical tourism. We see that thriving, and obviously that's working. And those are the two things that I would think about when it comes to replacing revenue if we're going to start reducing work permits in the Cayman Islands. That's generating revenue for us.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Candace. Gone through 2 rounds of questions. We have one final round, but we're going to get to that round right after this commercial break. Please stay tuned.
At CUC, we care about helping our customers. Here are some quick energy saving tips from CUC so you can use less energy and save money. Set your AC Smart thermostat to maintain an indoor temperature of 87 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you are away from home, and have the temperature cool to a comfortable 78 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you arrive home. Adding insulation can cut your cooling costs by 15 to 45%, depending on your home's size and current insulation. Focus on insulating your attic, walls, and windows for the best results. For your laundry, avoid over-drying clothes. Not only does it waste energy, but it also harms fabrics. Dry towels and heavier cottons separately from lighter weight fabrics to save energy. Your TV and gaming setup can be big energy consumers. Save costs by reducing in-game settings and turning off your console when not in use. Remember, every small step counts. Use energy wisely and make a big difference in your energy bills and the environment.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Welcome to Affinity Recruitment. Hi, I'm Michelle Aubert, founder and managing director for Affinity Recruitment. Affinity specializes in financial services recruitment and corporate innovation services. We can be reached at 943-2020. We're located in the heart of Georgetown at Piccadilly Center.
In the Cayman Islands, our habitats, including coral reefs, coastlines, and mangroves, are all dependent on one another. Our economy is no different. From people to businesses, right through to government, it's all connected. And just like everyone wants a healthy ecosystem, everyone wants a healthy economy too. Cayman is a top-ranked international financial center and domicile for captives, investment funds, and pensions worldwide. And our biggest economic contributor? Construction, you ask? Not quite. Tourism? Close. It's true that we're a country of consumers, and the more people we have using our services, the more money we make. But our actual greatest economic contributor is our world-class financial services. Long ago, we had a simple economy. One person has fish, another person needs to eat. That's a transaction. Now imagine that instead of fish, it's a boat, a house, or a car, or a fleet, or business you can earn on. That's investment. But what if you're in Canada and your investment is based in China? Whose rules and regulation do you use? Cayman maintains a high level of integrity with a stable government and a UK-based legal system, globally respected for fairness. That's why so many countries choose us for these transactions. The more transactions we do, the more specialized we become, and the more our economy grows. The result? Cayman is now home to many of the world's top accountants, law firms, banks, fiduciary firms, and administrators. Unlike most countries, Cayman doesn't add an extra layer of taxes on top of tax paid in an investor's home country. That way, there's no duplication of taxation. Instead, our financial services fees ensures constant investment in our professional sector's exceptional service. Cayman's tax neutral status combats tax evasion with legislation, regulation, and more, ensuring the highest international standards for transparency and cross-border cooperation and attracting reputable investors. All these factors make the Cayman Islands an ideal and trusted international financial center.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for Georgetown West. Gone through the first two sets of questions. We're on the third set. And we're going to be discussing the Chamber Pillar Sustaining Economic Success. And the first question deals with financial services support. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Corbin.
Thanks, Will. Mr. Hernandez, we'll start with you for question number 9. Given the ongoing and fluctuating threats to our financial services from external bodies such as the FATF, what proactive policies or strategies should the government adopt to protect and strengthen the industry?
Wow, that's a tough question. Thank you for the question. What should government adopt to strengthen and protect the industry? Let's start with backyard farming. We're at a stage in life where everything is going haywire. The United States president has decided to change tariffs on so many countries around the world. And they made it quite clear that Cayman is not exempt from that. We're getting our share of it as well. Our economy at the moment can't sustain too many more increases, in my opinion. To strengthen our industry, I think we need to really introduce and promote more farming, backyard farming. It would lower our cost, and by lowering our cost, I'm of the opinion that it would strengthen our industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Mrs. McGaul-Lumsden.
Honestly, I think we are as compliant as we possibly could be, and that's the honest God's truth. Each and every year, every now and then, for some reason, we seem to be on the blacklist or the gray list or something to that extent. And time again, we continue. If there's 16 rules and regulations that we have to be compliant with, we continue to do that and adhere to the policies that FACTA continues to implement and push down our throats when it comes to the financial services in this country. I don't know what else we can do. We continue to do KYC. We continue to be compliant. We continue to let them know exactly what's going on and update them. We have streamlined this process as much as we possibly can. And honestly, I don't know what other proactive policies or strategies that we can adopt at this time because we have gone above and beyond when it comes to FACTA.
Thank you, Mrs. McGaul-Lumsden. Mr. Walton.
Thank you for the question. I'm not an expert in finance, but it doesn't come to any surprise that we're under so much pressure. The financial services industry in Cayman is our top pillar, that along with tourism, and they're constantly under pressure and competition, good competition, even from the UK. So what I would say is necessary, and I mentioned it earlier, is promoting Cayman is a place to do business. Attract these major companies and major brands to the Cayman Islands and offer, some of the same benefits that the financial services are getting. Additionally, I think that it's time to, with these events happening in the Cayman Islands, I think Cayman needs to diversify the economy greatly. And one of the first steps we could take is getting into financial technology or fintech, and as well as blockchain. blockchain is a rapidly growing industry. We've seen the American president, take decisive action and boosted the Americans' economy with blockchain. And I think Cayman is a perfect place to adopt it. So, like I said, with all the competition in finance, it doesn't seem surprising that we're having such trouble. So diversifying the economy, bringing in blockchain, bringing in fintech, and exploring other ways to grow our economy and create it, make it more sustainable. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walton.
Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden, I will start with you. And this question has a few questions within it, so I'm going to read it slowly. Suppose voters ultimately do not support the cruise ship berthing referendum. What steps do you believe the government should take to reduce the impact of fewer cruise ships and declining visitor numbers, particularly on the businesses and jobs that rely on this sector? Do you believe the government has a responsibility to support workers and business owners who are affected? And if so, how should that support be delivered and funded?
Joe. Okay. I think the first question that we must ask as a nation is, do we want cruise and a cruise tourism industry? And if we do, what does that look like? Does it look like we need berthing facilities? And if we don't, and the second question has to be, at the end of the day, if we don't want berthing facilities, whether in Georgetown or West Bay, because of an environmental impact, we then have to think about, can the tourism, the cruise tourism sustain, and is it good conditions when it comes to the facilities that are now being offered? Do we need a refurbishment of what we currently have, or are we going to build the piers? And it's just that simple. So do we want cruise tourism? Because obviously we've seen a significant decrease when it comes to revenue and people visiting our islands. But one must be reminded that 90% of the visitors that do come back, or a heavy percentage that do come back to these islands, and you do ask them, well, how did you know about the Cayman Islands? They will tell you that they came via a cruise ship. And so if we want cruise tourism, we have to think about, do we want pairs? Do we not want pairs? If not, we can't continue as a progressive nation to think that what we currently have and what we currently offer people that visit here as a First Nation, that this is sufficient enough. The berthing facilities, or the facilities that we have at this moment, is not sufficient enough. And if I was a cruise ship passenger, I will not take a tender to come to the Cayman Islands. And it's really that simple. So that's the first question. But on the flip side, we also have to think about, we have around 3,000 people, Caymanians, that depend on the cruise ship industry. So while we're thinking about sustainability and development, we also have to think about the social impact that it's having in the country. Those people still need to eat. Those people still need to feed their families. Those people still need, at the end of the day, to pay bills and to further their children's education. So those are the questions. And trust me, it's a very difficult question. It's a huge discussion. And I'm obviously not going to tell people how to vote when it comes to the referendum. But what I will implore individuals, especially young people, is to do the homework, learn both sides of what's coming into play, and make your decision when it comes to the referendum. We as a PPM mandate have decided that the people will have the say, and whatever that say is, we will then push the agenda forward, no matter what it is.
Thank you. Mr. Walton?
Thank you for the question. So if voters ultimately decide not to support the cruise berthing facility, we'll be in a mess, first of all, because unfortunately there's quite a bit of people who rely on cruise tourism, and it is something that we should be looking at from now, because unfortunately the feedback I'm getting from the community is that they do not support the cruise berthing facility. However, this cannot go overlooked. I think that we've had an issue in Cayman where we've had a year-round a slow season annually, and unfortunately this hasn't even been looked at by previous governments. And my plan to address the slow season in the Cayman Islands is to promote cultural tourism. We have severely underfunded cultural activities. I believe that if the government make an investment and host these events year-round, we can actually gap the slow season and make sure that the people who are suffering from the declining cruise numbers can still survive. Additionally, medical tourism is a great option. Ms. Perlina mentioned that earlier. It's an excellent option. It's been doing well in Cayman. We do have a lack of specialists here, so medical tourism could help our local individuals as well. As well as ecotourism. We need to promote ecotourism. There's a lot of companies that are very eco-friendly, and it will attract environmentally conscious travelers. So these are some of the things I'm looking at if the people ultimately decide they don't want the cruise tourism to continue, even though we are greatly relying on it. We need to start looking at how we can close the slow season in the Cayman Islands. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you for the question. What steps do I believe government should take to reduce the impact of cruise visitors declining? Studies have shown that Cayman is already making more money in that industry than they want to. People wants and needs are different. Visitors are going to go to the Cayman Islands, whether it's by a cruise ship or by a plane. I agree with Ms. Magaw that a lot of people that come to the Cayman Islands, they have first came back because they came on a cruise ship. As far as the cruise berthing is concerned, I don't agree with it. I do agree that we need to upgrade the current facility that we have, but where does cruise berthing leave us? In debt, more debt. My plan for this is starting again with savings. I'm the only candidate that's going into this with a savings plan, not a plan to spend. Do I think that government should support workers and business owners that are affected? Absolutely. During the height of COVID, the whole country was locked down. The government provided funding for not as many locals as they should have, but there was lots and lots of funding for foreigners. I believe, again, in agreement with what Mr. Hunter was saying, medical tourism. I believe that's the way forward. We've seen so many doctors and new hospitals being built. I think that if we continue to explore and research in those areas for services that are not available and find what's needed, that we would be able to move forward a better way to deliver funding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Walton, we'll start with you for question number 11, which is the last one from me tonight on the topic of Georgetown West development. With the introduction of 1GT, which will bring new residents and business amenities to Georgetown West, do you support similar developments in the future? What is your vision for the development of Georgetown West, particularly given its strategic location as a potential hub for both cargo and cruise ship berthing in the future?
Thank you for the question. I think 1GT in time will prove that it's going to be a disaster for that little road. It's a lot of people, a lot of buildings, a lot of offices on this little tiny street. So obviously there wasn't much thought process. And Georgetown West as a whole is already extremely condensed. So we have a lot of people in and out of Georgetown West. So for us to think that it's a good idea to continue with similar developments, building up and jamming people into these buildings in an already condensed area, if we thought we had problems now, we'll have problems then. And if the government does move forward in a smart and strategic way, like I've suggested, by more community walkability and preserving green spaces as well to keep that natural feel, it could be something that we look at in the future. But if I do see any major developments coming into Georgetown West, I'd like to see that Caymanians are put first, because it's time that Caymanians are put first. And if I'm in power, the next major development in Georgetown West I'll be advocating for will be an affordable housing unit. And And for the last part of the question, due to its strategic location as a potential hub for both cargo and cruise, I think the first problem we have is that we have cargo and cruise put together. And we don't even know if the public's going to vote on a cruise berthing facility. So it's interesting. I think that cargo needs to be expanded. Our shipping capabilities need to be expanded, especially if we're going to get into lowering the cost of living through regional trade. As for the cruise ship berthing facility, if it's passed, you know, I'm a strong believer that I do not want to see it built in Georgetown. I would love to advocate for it to be built in either the Eastern Districts or West Bay. But at the end of the day, that's the decision that the people are going to have to make. But I will always be working in the best interest of the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walton. Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you for the question. Do I support similar development in the future? Development is the future. If we stay in one place, there's no development. And there's no way possible that we can stay in one place. Every second that the clock ticks is the future. My vision on development, we can only do but so much with what we have. The land space, in my opinion, just isn't there. Unless private owners are willing to give up to the government or to developers, that's a problem. As far as the cargo hub, cruise berthing, cruise ships, I do agree with Mr. Hunter. We have both things in one place. I believe that it should be separated. The question is, where is it going to go? Going back to my plan about the traffic control, if we continue to develop and build in the small community that Georgetown is, whether east, west, north, or south, it's not alleviating the problem, it's adding to the problem. So my plan was to move government businesses, the larger ones that is, out of the town. It won't work if we continue to develop at this rate for Georgetown West in the Georgetown area. Where the cruise berthing is going to go, that's a good question. I don't have the answer, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden?
I think to some extent, yes, I do support bringing business amenities to Georgetown, such like 1GT, for many different reasons. We have to bring life into the capital, and it's just that simple. This is the capital of the Cayman Islands. We have to see the hustle and the bustle going on with regards to Cayman Islands, but we also have to do it from a very sustainable way. We also have to look at the older buildings that exist in Georgetown. It doesn't necessarily have to be new developments. We can just refurbish what we currently have to obviously revitalize the district. Georgetown need revitalization. It is our nation's capital. It is where the hustle and the bustle when we were so much younger that used to happen. We need to bring it back. But we're also seeing it in Georgetown already. We're already seeing it in Georgetown with regards to various different national events that's happening in Georgetown. And so that's also bringing life into the capital, whether that's Pirates Week, whether that's Carnival or something or another food festival. It's all happening in Georgetown. And something that I want to do is obviously bring the Parade of Lights back into Georgetown. All of that is revitalizing Georgetown. And I think that's something that needs to happen. So it's not just from a development standpoint. It's from various different aspects. We also have to talk about having Georgetown as a mixed use city. And when I say that, I mean people living there, people dining there, people working there. That is something that needs to happen, but it needs to happen in a very sustainable way. With regards to the cargo and the cruise berthing facility, we don't know how that referendum is going to go. I think more of the issue or the most concerning issue amongst the people in GT West is the location, not the actual project itself, because they know that actually if it is in Georgetown, the erosion that it's going to do to the beaches on this country, to the 7 Mile Beach that exists in this country, that is the issue more than anything. And so they're thinking, let's look at another location. So I am minded that yes, Georgetown needs revitalization, and it needs introduction such as 1GT and other developments in a sustainable way.
Thank you, Mrs. McGaw. Lumsden?
Candidates, it's your last question. Mr. Hernandez, we'll start with you. In public schools, there is an ongoing debate about whether school meals should be free for all students or provided only to those who are in need. Some argue that universal free meals could lead to unnecessary government spending. What is your stance on this issue? And are there other government policies you believe may also contribute to the inefficient use of public funds?
Thank you for the question. Free meals. Who doesn't want one? Everybody gets hungry at some point in time. I believe that when the government decided to give free meals in schools, that was one of the greatest challenges that was facing our students, because a hungry mind, a hungry person doesn't think properly. That's been proven. It happened to me, and it could happen to you. I know it's happened to many other people. Is it unnecessary spending? Absolutely not. On a daily basis, government is spending money in areas that are absolutely unnecessary. I'll take, for example, where I worked. $10 million every year was their budget. And what are they doing with it? Building shoulders. And what are the results of building a shoulder? Fatalities. So is it a waste of government's money to be funding free meals? Absolutely not. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. McGaw-Lumsden.
I'll tell you a story. And the story goes that there was a family that actually lived in West Bay, and there were 10 children in the house along with their parents. And if it wasn't for free meals, those children would not have eaten for the day. And it's as simple as it is. We have to understand the importance of nutrition in this country. A free meal, a free lunch goes a long way when it comes to education, learning, and growing. That family that I speak about is my family. I didn't come from a privileged background. We depended on government lunches at school, and my snacks came from classmates. And trust me when I tell you, it played a very pivotal role in my life. I couldn't learn, I couldn't function if I didn't eat. So we're not only thinking about free lunches, we're thinking the benefits of those lunch. And it was significant to me and my 10 siblings, or 9 siblings, I should say. Not only today do we have in our families, in this family, lawyers, doctors, Yale graduates, we have every single person that is going to be successful, that continues to be successful and continue to strive, but it was built on the foundation of free lunches. We cannot in this country think that social workers and free lunches, there is enough social issues that are happening within our schools, within our school children. Trust me, a free lunch is like a great benefit. It's like a gift. And it's something that we cannot even think twice about, because I know how impactful this is, not just for me, but for our future as well.
Thank you. Mr. Walton?
Thank you for the question. I would like to support free school lunches for all students. But when it comes down to how we can save the government money, which at the end of the day, fiscal responsibility is something that we have to take seriously. And unfortunately, previous governments tend not to take fiscal responsibility seriously. I think that the best thing we could do in this case to avoid having to give all the students free lunches across the board is to actually address the parents and the issues that the parents are having. I think we need to expand our social services and our welfare slightly. We don't need to go overboard and pay for everybody's lunch, but the parents that do need help to pay their children, one of the things I'd like to implement is a cash assistance program. I would like to establish hubs across the island where each district, instead of everyone coming to Georgetown and adding to the traffic, each district should have a cash assistance hub where a Caymanian can walk in and within 15 minutes be able to receive some cash. Because what tends to happen is if you're short on cash, you like to find it. You got to find it. And that's the reality for Caymanians. They're trying to feed their families, so they commit crimes. They take the wrong path because unfortunately the rehabilitation is not available. However, I think that daycare should be free. Daycare for young children absolutely needs to be free. And I'd like to see some parenting workshops, mainly community-based, something where we can get community involvement. Young single parents can get the help they need, and they can work together to better the lives of their children. But at the end of the day, I would love to give all the students free lunches. I think that's an amazing thing. But when we talk about saving money, I think that the avenue is addressing the parents when it comes to training them and job placements and putting them back into the workforce so that they can stand on their own 2 feet. No Caymanian wants to be a beggar. So it's better we try to provide the pathways for them to, provide for their own family. However, I would love to support it, but maybe there's easier ways, less expensive ways.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, candidates. We've gone through all the 12 questions for this evening. We're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, closing statements from each of our candidates. Please stay tuned.
At CUC, we care about helping our customers. Here are some quick energy saving tips from CUC so you can use less energy and save money. Set your AC Smart thermostat to maintain an indoor temperature of 87 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you are away from home, and have the temperature cool to a comfortable 78 degrees Fahrenheit or higher when you arrive home. Adding insulation can cut your cooling costs by 15 to 45%, depending on your home's size and current insulation. Focus on insulating your attic, walls, and windows for the best results. For your laundry, avoid over-drying clothes. Not only does it waste energy, but it also harms fabrics. Dry towels and heavier cottons separately from lighter weight fabrics to save energy. Your TV and gaming setup can be big energy consumers. Save costs by reducing in-game settings and turning off your console when not in use. Remember, every small step counts. Use energy wisely and make a big difference in your energy bills and the environment.
When you run your own business, you have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Welcome to Affinity Recruitment. Hi, I'm Michelle Aubert, founder and managing director for Affinity Recruitment. Affinity specializes in financial services recruitment and corporate innovation services. We can be reached at 943-2020. We're located in the heart of Georgetown at Piccadilly Center.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for Georgetown West. Now we've gone through 12 questions. Now it's time for each of our candidates to deliver their closing statements. And we're going to begin with Mrs. Perlina McGaw-Lumsden.
Thank you again for having me. As your MP, I know how important it is not to only be visible in our community and connect with you, but also to be consistently accessible to you. Whether it's a phone call, a visit, at our office or your home. I promise to be accessible and available to you because you are my priority and I am your representative. My good people of Georgetown West, together, let's make a change for our country, a change that is so desperately needed. We cannot afford to continue down a path that has unfortunately, at our expense, wreaked havoc, confusion, unpredictability. Why are we here? 4 years. Why are we here? 4 years ago, majority of those who voted wanted something new. And that's fine. It is a democratic process after all. We respect the will of the people, but 4 years is up and we have very little to show for it. The trial has ended. The experiment was not successful, and we are ready to unsubscribe to this nonsense. We deserve more. We deserve the best. And Georgetown West, you deserve my respect, my support, my advocacy, and my passion to serve you. It is time that we got back to a government that cares about the citizens of this country. More specifically, it is time that we got back to a government that cares about us Caymanians. We need to elect leaders who will stand up for ordinary citizens of this country, leaders who will work to enrich the lives of Caymanians. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the PPM government. I am asking you to trust me with your vote come April 30th so that I can make a real difference, not just for you, but for your families and for our countries tomorrow. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce, my family, Mr. David White, for being a great supporter and opening doors for me, and the good people of Georgetown West for welcoming me in your homes and sharing our time together. I assure you, your voices will not go unheard. I will be a true representative for the people. Good night. God bless you, and God bless the Cayman Islands.
Mr. Hunter Walton.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Chamber, and thank you, candidates, for joining us. Unfortunately, we're missing one. And to the people of Georgetown West, I'd just like to say, if I could afford a house, if I could get a decent job, and we weren't overrun by work permits in this country, I wouldn't have to be here today. But it's due to weak leadership and party politics, and politics as usual. That's why I'm here. We've been neglected in Georgetown West for the last 8 years. Okay, it's time for change. If you want real leadership, real change, someone who's determined to work for you and answer to you and not the party, not the special interests, you need to go out and you need to vote for Hunter Walton. Okay, freedom is never owned. It's fought for with every generation. And I'm glad to see that we have a lot of young people stepping up to the plate. And I hope that you guys support them because it's our future and we are the ones that are going to carry it forward. So, thank you for having me. Thank you for this opportunity. It's been a learning experience. My manifesto will be launched on Friday. My number for the people of Georgetown West is 924-2775. That's 924-2775. If you call me, I will be there. You can call me at any time of the day, any time of the night. I'll be out in the community for the next coming weeks leading up to the election. I want you guys to think carefully. I think I've displayed myself well at today and at our Radio Cayman debate. And I encourage that you guys go back and watch the Radio Cayman debate and, you know, pay fine attention and make the right choice. Don't just listen to people because they're telling you to vote for their friend or vote for your friend just because you're a friend. I came to you with solid actions, solid solutions, and a solid plan to better this country. Give me the opportunity. Don't make me waste the energy and sit down and twiddling my thumbs for another 4 years as nothing gets done. We need strong leadership in Georgetown West. And I think I'm more than capable and I'm more than ready to serve you, the people of Georgetown West, my community, my friends, my family. Thank you very much. And that's 924-2775. 924-2775. If you call me, I'll be there. So there's no excuse. Thank you.
Mr. Tyree Hernandez.
Thank you, Georgetown West, for considering me and having me as your candidate. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Will, Ms. Lawson, Mr. Omari, Ms. McGaw, Mr. Hunter. Thank you, Lord, for your blessings on all of us. This election, I've heard a lot of candidates say it's going to make the difference, or they're hoping that it makes the difference. Here is my reality to you all. Out of 58 candidates for this election, I am the only one that is proposing a savings, not expense. I'm dedicated to this. That's the reason why I put so much thought into it. If you want to lower cost in the Cayman Islands, the only way that you can do that is by saving some money. How are we going to save it? I have the plan. I am Tyree Hernandez. I've been thinking about this long and hard. I've been there. I'm a poor person. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I know what it's like to grow up without a dad, with a mother trying to take care of 5 siblings. That's why I'm so dedicated to this plan on saving the Cayman Islands some money. That's why I'm so dedicated to creating jobs, prison reform for those incarcerated, welcome them back into society. Georgetown West, Cayman Islands, vote Tyree Hernandez, #1 for Georgetown West. If you want savings, lowering cost, and better commerce across these Cayman Islands. Thank you for all your kind considerations. I pray and trust that you will make the decision for me come election day. And I'll hit the ground running May 1st. I promise you, with all my heart and through the will of God. Thank you.
Well, thank you, candidates. It's now that time for the closing remarks by Chamber President Omari Corbin.
Thanks, Will. On behalf of the Chamber Council and staff, I would like to thank Mrs. Perlina McGaw-Lumsden, Mr. Hunter Walton, and Mr. Tyree Hernandez for participating in this evening's forum. I trust that this forum will help Georgetown West voters make informed decisions about who to vote for when you go to the polls on April 30th. I would also like to thank Affinity Recruitment, Ashley Furniture and Home Store, CUC, Foster's, and Logic for sponsoring the Chamber's candidate forums. Please join us tomorrow evening as we welcome the 4 candidates from Georgetown East: Oscar Borden, Vassal Johnson Jr., Emily DeCoux, and Roy McTaggart. Please note that all forums will be posted on the Chamber's YouTube channel for your future reference. The Chamber Council is also pleased to announce that the leaders of the 3 political parties have confirmed their participation in the Chamber's inaugural debate featuring the party leaders scheduled for Wednesday, April 9th. This marks a historic first for the Chamber, providing the community with a unique opportunity to hear directly from each leader about their party's visions and priorities, both on national issues and local concerns. The debate will be broadcast live on Chamber's YouTube channel, as well as on Cayman Mall Road, Cayman Live TV, Compass TV, and Radio Cayman. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you will join us tomorrow evening, and please have a restful night.
When you run your own business, You have a career as an accountant, stock taker, delivery driver, therapist, legal expert, mother, father, and the rest. But there's one area you don't need to be an expert in. At Brava, we take the complexity out of your business solutions. We keep it simple, so you can get along with doing what you do. Brava, the Simplify My Business company.
Why is my bill higher? These days, it might seem like the cost of everything is going up here in Cayman. When it comes to your energy bill, this may be no exception. You may be wondering why your bill is higher when you haven't done anything different in your home. Here are some common factors that will increase your energy usage. As temperatures outside increase, your air conditioning unit has to run longer to keep your house cool, even if you haven't adjusted the thermostat. During the summer months, cooling your home can make up more than half of your energy bill. It's important to maintain your AC so that it can function as efficiently as possible. Changing your AC filters can also help with ensuring units are functioning properly. Remember, for every degree you turn up your thermostat, you can save on your monthly energy cost. Turn off your AC when no one is home. Thermostat should not be set any lower than 78 degrees. Also consider closing blinds and drapes on the sunny side of your home. This will help reduce the temperature inside your home. Remember to consider energy waste. Think about the items in your home that are using energy, like gaming computers and ceiling fans. Always unplug and turn these items off when they are not in use or needed. This will help you conserve. Now that you have some energy saving tips, you can track your consumption daily on MyCUC. Learn more at www.cuc-cayman.com.
Welcome to Affinity Recruitment. Hi, I'm Michelle Aubert, founder and managing director for Affinity Recruitment. Affinity specializes in financial services recruitment and corporate innovation services. We can be reached at 943-2020. We're located in the heart of Georgetown at Hickory Center.